Dylan Madge, good footwork, and third touch coming up to halfway. You would normally think maybe not the best field position, not for England. They've shown all weekend they're happy to scoot from their own half because they back their core skills. Jacques going through the gap, but a good defensive read. And Ireland currently answering all the right questions. Again, this transition defence from England is so accurate, and you know, you two are referees. So when when the transition defence is trying to shoot out of the line, are you constantly talking to the players about where the offside line is and when they can release and go and press?
Yeah, it's actually, you have to talk to them all the time. They have to know when they're onside, when they're offside. So you set the sevens, you say sevens here, and then you say yes, yes, no, no mid, or give a number. And you always have to talk to them because they need to know all the time. And also we need to keep tally. Also, our sideline referees are assisting us at the same time. So we also got to listen out for them and what they're saying. So we all work together as a tight unit of 3. And also we help the players with tight communication, especially on the drive. We have to be on it for offside, onside, because the shooters come from every direction.
Yeah, 100%. And I think when there's clear communication from the referees, it lets the game flow a lot better. Ellis Watts now scooping through, trying to find the spare man. Shake and bake, but the ball goes to ground.
That was a good one, though.
Oh, just a little bit of a name change there. That was Kit Fairhurst scooping through, not Ellis Watts. Doing a really good job. Oh, look at the wrong score sheet. I knew him. It's Ellis Watts, of course he is. English defence standing up to Ireland. Seb Conahan on the board, trucking it up. Good touch. Irish player flying out the line. Another good dump, and this transition is a lot smoother. Ellis Watts, loads of yards up the box. He's just too athletic, too good. Ireland at the moment have got to stop this English momentum. Being able to pass around the shooter so easy. Moses Ratnage on the ball. Dylan Madge. Archie Devlin. Passes out. 2-on-2. Back to Dylan. We've got one touch. Archie Devlin in open space. Not where you want to see him. Long ball. Perfect.
All clear given by the sideline.
Yeah, and I think that's Kerr in the corner adding to his tally. And the coaches look very happy with the work on field.
That was a good long pass.
Yeah, something we've seen from Archie Devlin all weekend. Big up in the air pass. Dom Tripp-esque. And this is what we see from England. When they get the roll, the pace and power is just too much. Too much for Ireland at times. Much better from Ireland. Early release. Can they give the pass?
Oh, not quite.
Oh, it just goes
That
to
is 6
floor.
more.
Oh, England player saying he's not made it, not played the ball, but the referees disagree. And that's Duncan Mascarenhas on the pitch there. Big up Dunk. Fire up. Looks to give the pass. Doesn't. Half. Brilliant touch there. And if you're trying to use your pace, you don't want to use it against the Jacques because they've got wheels to burn. Duncan Mascarenhas hot on it to see any infringements from Ireland. And England now roll through their transition. Brilliant meters made. Just off the mark. Referees hot on it. And how important is that clear communication from the refs to the players about the decisions that they make?
It is quite important, very important. I mean, without the referees on the field, I think any game wouldn't be able to function. Referees are supposed to communicate clearly as possible, Of course, players are allowed to ask questions on the field and stuff like that. That is normal. That's how they learn as well. And I personally like it when they challenge me, when they ask me questions, when they want to know what's happening and stuff. So, yeah, definitely encourage whoever's watching to ask questions, ask referees, you know, but obviously in a polite manner, because we can sometimes be quite tense from the game. So as soon as we hear someone asking a question, you know, the first instinct is someone is challenging our calls. But of course, if you come at it in a good approach, we're always willing to teach.
Yeah, with me, it's just the 2 T's. It's very simple. Get your timing right when you want to talk to me, and just watch your tone.
Definitely.
And then I'm happy to help. But if you're going to come through and attack me, I'm obviously going to go defensive and try and protect myself. But if you do want for general knowledge or just genuinely want to know things, by all means, you can ask the question. I'm happy to teach and impart my knowledge.
Yeah, I think there's a really big thing to be said as well about the rationale of decision making is so important. I know, you know, when I get called offside, I'm always like, how far off am I?
Yeah.
How far off? Am I an inch off? Am I a metre off? What's going on? And then when there's that two-way street of dialogue, yeah, you can never have any complaints then, because you know the rationale, you know the decision making, and then as players you sort of go, well, you know what, fair enough, mate.
Yeah.
I can't say anything to that. England trying to look for the long ball, just goes to ground, and Ireland is showing better defence than what we saw from them yesterday. But England resting a couple players, sort of taking their foot off the gas, very aware that they've got the finals later. Just want to secure the win, hopefully keep the Ireland boys to 0, and then they can move through. Good, meters made. Unfortunately, stepping out inside line, so that's an unforced error, and England will get possession. And Ireland, if they want to find success in this game, you need to be, you know, forcing those repeat sets, forcing mistakes from England, just not asking the right questions of this English defence, because England just look too comfortable, especially when you've got someone like Archie Devlin on the field who can just inject so much pace. Seb Hillebrand, Adam Jacques. Oh, so good. Was touch claimed?
That's 6 up.
Ireland now launching the transition, trying to go from deep. England just putting the press on, putting the squeeze on. And that 6-touch turnover. Something that we've said is along the weekend is a lot of teams often lose track of the touch count. Are the referees counting touches for them, or is it only typically 5th that gets called for the refs?
It purely depends how much communication we have to do. A lot of the time, referees prioritize the count and then talk to them. For me, sometimes I prioritize the players because they shoot too early and I have to catch them on time. Yep. But I generally try to call out the touches as soon as possible so they can also keep count in case the wingers have lost count as well, because it's their duty also to communicate that.
100%. And we have seen a lot of players, you know, maybe striking off 4th and then not having momentum on 5th, or, you know, potentially trying to dump on 5th and it's being 6-touch turnover. But I do think having those referees going, you know, 1st, 2nd, it gives you that base to build off. And
True.
Yeah, I do think it's a part of the game that gets underappreciated, the impact of having a really good referee out there.
Yeah. Appreciate your referees, guys.
100%. When we're appreciating the work that England are doing at the moment, driving up the middle is the scoop. Archie Devlin, the feet's too good. That's half court and turnover. And in that instance, from my mind, Irish players in the offside position cutting off the space for the scooping player. Obviously, we don't have deviation in the law book anymore. So where's the line on not allowing that scooping player to go through in an offside position?
Sorry, please just repeat your question.
So you know when their scooper comes through, touching players offside, scooping player can't just push him out the way and say, that's my space.
Yeah.
Is there a line on when obstruction becomes a thing there?
In such a case, So what we're being taught right now, especially if I want to upgrade to a level 3, we're being taught to play the advantage if they are offside. But in such a case, I would call, offside, because you're not making space for them. You're not making an effort to let them play. That's not good sportsmanship, because as the player, you do know that you're offside, but you're still trying to close in that gap. Whether you're a dummy or not, I think it's still a bit unfair, So I would have called an offside, definitely.
Yeah, you just also got to watch the push, because he would get the advantage in the penalty for the offside, but if he overextends that push, you got to turn that around for, overextending force and all of that stuff. So it's a margin of where you got to manage it, and also just call him offside as far as possible with the referee's control. And obviously the attacking team will go on him or her if they are offside, and they will just try target them. And it's just a matter of making sure they control their tempo, not just shove them out the way, because then they lose that penalty.
Yeah.
No, 100%, 100%, and you might be tempted to, well, I'll say ease a player out of the way, for lack of a better word, but no, I completely agree with what you're saying about, managing those tempers. Yes, you may be stuck in an offside position, but you've got no right just to go big bosh him out the way.
True.
It's touch rugby after all, it's not tackle.
Yeah, I'm sure some boys would prefer contact every now and again. It's the Jacques. Oh, it's too good.
That was good.
Too good, too fast, too direct. And the Jacques are loving their work. Just a very basic setup run at absolute pace. It's a 32 short. They take a quickie in the midfield, and then it rolls through the structures. Tom dumps for Dylan. Adam comes accelerated onto the ball, and that's just pace.
I wonder if number 16 didn't fall, would they have caught them?
But then in that instance, it sort of leads on to another question I wanted to ask. If the defensive player is on the line, both feet on the line, and the ball is also being, the attacker's trying to ground the ball, are you looking for the defence to step off to make the touch? Or if they're on the line making the touch, are you more inclined to give the score? Because they're not advancing off, they're not creating that separation between the line. It's a hard one to referee, especially when it's being run at such a pace as this.
Yeah, on the line, you always want them to make the effort to get off the line. Their duty on defense is on the line. Touch is made, hit the line, and then as soon as ball's up, step up. There is like that split second, and yes, games can be moving fast, but they do need to make that effort to try and go up. We can definitely see if they're caught on the back foot and they're just sitting there on the line waiting for them to scoop at their feet.
Yeah, which is why it's so important to stay in tune with the line, with the ball, sorry.
Oh, no touch there.
Yeah.
It's another ambiguous one as well. We saw one of the defenders in the previous game swipe for the touch when they were in the 7, missed. Attacking player rolls the ball, and normally I would say, in my untrained eye, I would say compared to two referees, defence isn't allowed to back out of touches.
So, if they thought the touch was imminent, where it was going to happen, and they anticipate it and they take a step back, that's fine. But if they miss, they've got to make sure they get back up. They can't keep on retreating. So they've got to react as soon as that miss is confirmed. Get up and get out there, because you can't go and sit on your line and be with that advantage on defense that all you need to do is pretty much shoot up, because you don't have much to fall.
Yeah. Rather correct your wrong by doing that.
Beautiful.
That was a good
Big splash in the corner. Tom Kirby loves his work. Adding another one to his long list of tries.
That was number 1.
Must be hitting 13-14 now for the weekend, and it's just core skills, catch and pass down the outside.
Beautiful draw of the two players there.
And if you've got a stride length like Kerr, you're gonna eat up the yards.
Definitely caught the wing off guard.
Dive in the corner, big mullet, breezing. So good. And England at the moment beginning to turn the screw. 2 minutes left in this first half. Not as high scoring as we saw last night, but England just getting the job done.
I think they're trying to save their energy.
Oh, beautiful ball.
Yeah, there's the score in the corner for Ireland.
The referees.
They're so good. Lovely hands, and just as soon as England show their hands to go around the outside, Ireland reply. So it's the doggies play. The sweeper comes round the outside of the link, and then it's just catch and pass. Kerr, the try scorer for England, just gets drawn in, and they're able to check off round the outside. Ireland get their reward. England now coming to reply. Ellis Watts checks out to Conahan. Watts dives for the line. Touch has been made. Ellis Watts taking the ball, 32. Oh, it's so good. But a brilliant shot from the Irish winger. Brilliant decision making to go out and make that shot. Ball just goes to ground. 60 seconds remain in the first half, and England will want to finish on a high, extend the lead back out to 4. Here's one of the danger men, Ellis Watts, checking the ball off. Seb Conahan. Ellis Watts. Conahan. 32. Ellis Watts.
Oh, beautiful.
Could moonwalk it over in the end. The space just appears in front of him, right on the buzzer. And this is just the basics of touch, done to the very highest level. The Irish defender's hips are turned the complete wrong way. Yeah. Profile, post-touch, not good enough. Ellis Watts able to ghost over, and good bit of action in the first half.
Yeah, lovely action. I think the referee's also working a tight unit, that team of 3. They're really communicating well amongst each other and to the players. And honestly, this is an exciting game, let alone the score. Put the score out the way. This is a good game of touch.
Yeah, superb game of touch, and you can see the referees there in the middle. Big Dunk getting changed. Big man.
Yeah. Dunk, Sharkey, and Hannah on this game. 3 brilliant referees. Lots of talent amongst them. Lots of talent amongst the players. I mean, talent all over. Yeah,
we're being treated to a spectacle in the 4th game this morning. We are going to take a very brief break at half-time just to catch our breath ever so slightly. I will be back with you in just a moment. And the Hooters about to go to get us back underway. Second half about to begin. England up 4-1 against Ireland. And England maybe just guilty of taking the foot off the gas ever so slightly. But they'll want to make sure that everyone's aware that they can't play. Archie Devlin now, picking back up where they left off. Just relaxing. Archie Devlin checks it back off. Dylan Madge, Devlin. Dive for the line and rinse and repeat. Score goes over.
That was a good call.
It's a superbly worked play. Matt Hawes, it was taking the ball down. Dylan Madge, quick pop. You can see the Irish players hitting the line, but just stumbling at the last moment, and you can't give Archie Devlin that much space because he will take it gratefully. Ireland now rolling into their attack, and whilst I've got you here, because Rich, who's been doing all my other comms, he's asking lots of questions about hips not square or the Shakira rule, as he's taken to call it. Do you want to just explain your perception of hips not square?
Okay, so I'm from South Africa, and we're not really pedantic about the squaring of the hips. If anything, we just look out for those advantages. So if you do give a skew dump, that's what we call them. If you do give a skew dump, and that dummy just takes it right off the bat, and gains that advantage, then that is when we normally do call it. So it has been quite of a learning curve being this side to see that they're very strict on those skew dumps.
Yeah, definitely. Hips not square is one of the more common calls that you'll see at the roll ball in England, because there's a real impetus on not allowing any advantage to the attacking side. But Ellis Watts dancing in a phone booth. Unfortunately, the touch comes in just a second before the pass gets given. And do you want to, again, I'm going to be asking you loads of questions when the penalties get given.
Of course.
In that instance, Ellis's pass was in motion, but the touch was made before the ball was released. I know some referees will say play on if the pass is in motion, but other referees will say if the touch has been made before you've released the ball, that's touch and pass regardless. What's your understanding of it?
It all depends on what you do see. Obviously, as the onside referee, you're more able to see if the ball was already out of the hands or if it was still in the hands, or it just all depends on how far the ball is, I guess. It's all about just that perception and just watching and observing that. But like I said, it all just depends. It's very difficult to sort of specify now as we're speaking.
Yeah, 100%. I think touch is one of those games where you've really got to find out what the on-field ref is willing to let go and then work within those laws. Because some referees, you do have different perceptions of the laws, and it allows for a more personalised refereeing experience, I suppose, being able to accept, okay, this is the law, but this is my understanding of it, so this is what I'm going to use. And it's a beautiful 32 short, hitting the link through the hole. Superb play. We'll have a look at this replay in a moment. It's Archie Devlin and Matthew Hawes again working together ever so well. Archie taking the ball down this time, and everyone's looking at the ball and no one's looking at Archie, and it's all too easy for England.
What a lovely dive.
Yeah, very picturesque. Trying to get some clips, I'm sure, from the live stream.
Gonna have fun watching the replays.
Yeah, and some of the athleticism on display at this boys 18 side has been just superb. Diving touches flying all over the place. Really lovely dives to get underneath touches, and in that instance over the touch. Oh, lovely. Ireland give England a taste of their own medicine with the late pop into the link hole. And for the first time in this game, England's defensive spacing just increasing ever so slightly, and Ireland make them pay for it. Oh, lovely pop pass. Referee calls pass is gone. You can see clear communication. Referee enjoys it. Score given.
You definitely have to be passionate. to ref a touch game because it is exhausting. I will give you that. It is very exhausting.
For sure.
But it's so liberating. It's so much fun.
Ellis Watts now. Ooh, good hands in the end, but I think that's going to be given forward. Striking player just arriving too soon, surrendering possession. It's a cheap one to give away by England standards.
Now, if you observe the referee showing up on TV just of yet, but if you are watching from the stands or on the field, you'll just see that the referee went into the mid-lane channel to sub in, and then the other one just went sharp and exited. We try to, be as central as possible so that it's easier for us to observe the game and see what's happening.
Yeah, definitely. I think the effectiveness and the efficiency of that sort of transition for the referees allows them to be in the right positions when they need to be.
Definitely.
And you can, some referees can be guilty of maybe just falling out of position every now and again. Very quick to fix those slight problems.
True.
Rain on the touchline today, so not as much cover. Ireland now rolling through their transition. Where's Ratnich getting up? Big lad puts the shot on. There's an overlap here if they can work it. Referee calls away. Oh, if they could have collected the ball between them. Would have been an intercept. But 6 more given and England will have another defensive set. And England conceding more tries than what I suppose they'd like. I'd be interesting to see. That's drifted forward. Ball goes to ground. And we were talking to the English coaches. They were saying they don't want to concede more than 10 tries throughout the entire tournament. And 2 tries here today. Maybe just increasing that tally ever so slightly. They might say, no, we were happy with conceding less than 15. But they hold this boys 18 side to a higher standard than most. Because, I'd say 90% of the people in this boys 18 side will go on to represent England at men's or mixed. Oh, and here he is. The Jacques going through, finds the spare man. It's so clinical. Adam dumping the ball over Thomas. The Jacques combining again, and the pace just proves too much. Finds the ball out wide. Seb Hillebrand, the grateful recipient, getting the ball down. And England starting to move through their motions again. Bit of a slow start to the second half. Now they're increasing the tempo. Brilliant communication there for the referee, telling the link he's offside, you're offside. Dylan Madge accepts, surrenders the position, hence why the penalty wasn't given. Lovely hands. Oh, brilliant call there from Doug. No qualms about what the touch count is. Lovely play there, and we saw Duncan call Dylan off, say, look, Link, you're offside, and I suppose as long as that Link then surrenders the position and makes an effort to get back onside, you don't really give the penalty in most cases.
No, you don't. As long as you're making that effort to move back, then it's all good.
Oh, direct drive from England, and this is where they really kill teams. It's just too direct, too powerful. Think that's hips not square?
I actually didn't see the signal.
Nah, hands went above their head, so that could have been 6, could have been hips not square. Could have been protecting himself from the rain, we're not sure. What we are sure of is Ireland get the turnover and drive up the sub box. And just over 10 minutes to go in this second half. Ireland have it all to do to find more success. At the moment, Ireland just not confident enough to pass around these single shooters for England, and then they're driving through and set defence, but they've found the space. Can they find the spare man? Yes, they can.
Beautiful.
Superb drive, superb finish, and Ireland showing they're here to play.
He took advantage of that number 2 being off, and he just scooped right through.
Yeah, superb, and that's what we were talking about earlier on, about that touching player being offside, and Archie Devlin didn't close the space for the scooping player, allowed him to go through, so didn't give away the offside penalty. And then, you know, when the scooping player's through, it's about that mirrors defence. Can you pick up numbers? Can you find the spare man and mark them out? And England weren't able to do that. Ireland take full advantage. 8-3 is the score. And Jack just taking a slight tumble. This is 5th coming. They'll have one more attempt. 32. They come back to the short. And that is just momentum. But touch has been made. Good calls there. Some players thinking that was off the mark. Referees are happy with it. But this transition defence is just so clinical from England, and Ireland having to work so hard for the success that they find. Maybe guilty of just overplaying in the midfield, trying to throw the extra pass when it wasn't on.
I will say, coming to England, I didn't really have any expectations with how each nation was going to play, but I'm pretty impressed with the English team.
Yeah, I was having a little chat with Ben Meakin. Oh, it's England going for it again. It's the Jacques combining. Just Jacques to Jacques. Said yesterday, made in Chester, finished in Nottingham. So good. And as I was saying, I was talking to Meeks, Big Meeks, and he was saying that this boys 18 side, if they were to enter the Euros at Opens level, they would probably end up coming 3rd.
Wow.
And that's a testament to A, the coaching, because the coaching has been spot on, the structures have been spot on. B, every single one of these boys 18 side for England is capable of operating at the highest level that touch has to offer. And you know, if you're an Irish men's opens player, if you're a Welsh men's opens player, any European nation in the men's open or mixed open, thinking about who you're going to have to come up against in the next 2 or 3 years, well, these boys are them. And I don't think any other nation has the depth of quality in this age group that England do. I mean, they could have picked 2 teams here and they probably would have finished 1 and 2. So good, so clinical. I mean, and this young man helps a lot. Ellis Watts, quickie, looks for the step back. Doesn't quite happen. Very well defended. Ireland have really tightened up defensively from what we saw yesterday. Very impressive from Ireland to be able to, be resilient after what was a very convincing victory for England. They've come back, put 3 tries on the board. They might go through and put a 4th on. What a touch. I might have just jarred himself as he's landed, just holding the lower back. Wry little grin as he avoided stepping out into touch, but the pace on display was electric. Brilliant touch. And just checks the run. And England see out that set. Scramble defence of England just proving enough when they need it, and the yards eaten up by Ellis Watts. Trying to get his dad Matt on the comms later. He gives me grief every time I see him. I told him yesterday, put your money where your mouth is. Come and commentate. Oh well. And that's Mo Stratney going over. Brilliant play. And probably one of the members of this team that goes a little bit underappreciated, but the defensive work is superb, and then he gets his reward with the score. 32 short, lovely line at the base of the ruck, hits it at pace. Irish defenders retreating beyond the line, and Moses says, cheers, thank you very much, pal.
Some sun coming out from the clouds.
Leave him!
No, it was meant to be, well, we had rain all yesterday. We checked last night, forecast thunder and lightning all day. And now the sun's out. If that isn't British weather, I don't know what is. 5.5 minutes to go now in the second half. Ireland just slowing down, getting organised. They look for the shot. Just a little bit of confusion, but what a catch and ground. Brilliant cover by the winger.
Lead it back out, lead it back out.
Oh, 6 more. Interception attempt there. If he reels that one in, there's no one stopping him from getting to the try line.
Gotta say, I love a good interception.
Oh, nothing better. Nothing better, especially the full length there. We saw Bailey Blackburn have one in day 1. We've seen a couple on day 2. One of the best sights. In touch, the big intercept and going full length. Seb Conahan, oh, lovely delayed path, and Matthew Hawes gets in underneath. And England really starting to flex the muscles. Oh, lovely.
Very impressive.
Dummy to engage the defender, flies out the line to make the touch, and then the late release on the pass just proves too much for Ireland. And for all their success down the other end, England just go back and always reply. They never look under too much stress. And Moses Ratnage, with one of the most dominant touches you'll see on this pitch one, just gets low, squares the shoulders, absorbs the touch, so not given hard because there's no locking of the arms. That's just a big bloke putting the shove on.
Yeah, I actually just wanted to ask you that. What is your opinion on hard touches? What do you think the definition is of a hard touch?
So I've always been of the mind, and I get pinged for a lot of hard touches, so I will just preface what I'm about to say with that. I'm always of the mind that you've got to win the roll ball. And I'm never really a fan of the flick in and out touch is brilliant when you're on your defensive line. But in the midfield, I will always try and not hold the attacker up, but make the attacker work to get the ball down. I'm never a fan of just surrendering that touch and allowing them to get the ball down.
Yeah.
I always say, especially what we've seen on live stream, is that locked elbow is an easy one for refs to identify hard touch, because you're not absorbing the momentum of the attacker, and you're just stopping them dead, and also could cause you some injury, because if you invert that elbow, that's a bad one. So that for one. My second one that I know refs look for straight away is that chest-on-chest contact, so the shoulder-on-chest contact, because then you're not protecting the player trying to move through the touch.
Sure.
And as much as we want players to be working to win the roll ball, you've also got to not allow them to do it, but give them every opportunity to get the ball down. Is that vaguely similar to your understanding?
Yeah, no, definitely. I have observed that the kids sometimes complain about those hard touches, but I look mainly at whether the player used that momentum just to help them get those extra meters to get in line with the referee. So in my opinion, as long as it's not too hectic, not dropping you, not killing you, I don't really blow those hard touches. Yeah.
The only other one that I've seen, and I understand, but slightly disagree with, players targeting the dumping arm. So when the attacking player is trying to dump the ball, touch is being made on the elbow, targeting that arm, trying to knock the ball out. Is that something you'd ping as a hard touch?
I don't think I've actually observed a touch like that in any of my games, but I think it would be in such a case, but of course it might be a drop ball, but I would call it as just a touch because it wasn't in the player's control to drop that ball. And I would just let the players know that please be mindful of your touches, because of course that is intentional. It's not good sportsmanship.
Completely agree. We saw a very blatant one 2 days ago. It was just a big shot in the elbow, and the referee almost went, "What are you doing?" I could see you targeting it a mile off. And it was almost like the annoyance of how obvious the infringement was, and you can see the ref throw the arms in the air being like, "Oh, come on, mate, you don't have to be doing that." But I agree with the sentiment of the sportsmanship aspect of the game should always come first. As long as you're showing the sportsmanship, referees can't really have too many issues.
I agree.
We roll towards the end of this game, 30 seconds remaining. That'll be turnover ball. And England will try and go coast to coast, end on a high. I mean, very convincing from England.
It's a lovely game.
Just
Well
moving.
controlled.
Yeah. And a very free-flowing game as well, which is a testament to the refs.
Yeah.
They've been able to manage what can be some quite, well, I wouldn't say hot-headed, but passionate boys out there. We love the sport. And they don't want to take the touch. Bailey Blackburn feeds it back in. Archie Devlin looks to release the ball. Hands go. Wow. And it goes to the winger, and that's how you finish with a flourish. But Duncan Mascarenas is going to say, no, pal, that's a touch and pass.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Thomas Kerr can't add to his ever-growing list of tries. Just looking at the replay, trying to see where the touch and pass is. I think it's on Archie Devlin here. Oh, that's right on the line. And Ireland now trying to go coast to coast. Doesn't quite happen. They get crowded out. And what a performance from the boys 18s.
Well,
we're just going to grab a couple boys to have a chat to about the games.
I do think both teams should be proud of themselves, especially Ireland. They really stood their ground and they defended as hard as they could.
100%. 100%. And Ireland yesterday weren't able to break through against the English defence. They have been able to today, but it does end England 12, Ireland 3. And, you know, in this boys 18s category, I don't think there's any team, and I'm trying not to sound too biased, but there's only so many ways you can phrase it. I don't think there's any team in this division that's going to stress this boys 18 side. So accomplished, so well drilled. They've got bags of ability. And I mean, the coaching staff have got to be happy. Got to be happy. The score difference from yesterday was 52 tries to 6.
50?
Which is outrageous.
Wow,
so
that's a try per minute.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just electric at times. I think we're going to get Ben Grinter on the comms. Yeah, come on, Ben. He's trying to avoid it. Doesn't want to shout out Starhouse Honey anymore. Amazing. Perfect. Yeah, you're a bit too tall for the dugout here, Will, but what a performance in the end. I mean, absolutely superb. And we spoke to you yesterday against the game against Ireland, saying you guys have probably got more to show. We saw a couple of variations on the 32 platform, running shorts rather than the longs. Is that something you told them to do beforehand?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a really, really dominant performance, and I've got to say, having someone like Archie Devlin in your side seems absolutely invaluable. He's just so athletic, so direct. I mean, do you really have to coach him that much, or is it just one of those where it's like,
he needs
go
coaching.
do your own thing?
Yeah, he needs coaching. I don't know if you guys saw it, but he had a bit of a turnstile in the middle when they scooped through and scored. But so. You know, he's a great kid and he's doing really well, but there is definitely a few hours of coaching being put into him.
Amazing. And anything more to show? You got more plays in the playbook?
We might have a couple of things. We might have a couple of things for this last game against Wales. I'll let Matty elaborate as he comes in, our captain. He's been great all tournament, so here he comes.
Yeah, come on, Matt, get in here. We were saying on comms, maybe one of the unsung heroes in this England side, because you've got some electric players, but Mr. Consistent. I mean, how good is it to play in such an England side?
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic, to be fair. I just love being out there with the boys. Like, everyone's just working for each other, and yeah, it's not bad playing with some of these boys. They are just electric, aren't they? Like,
yeah, and it makes for such good watching. I mean, you know, just the pace, the power, the direction. And we were talking to Will last night, and he was saying, look, these boys still have levels to go up. I mean, what's it like being coached from, you know, the likes of like Ben Grinter, Will Upton, people who've, you know, come through the ranks at age group and then gone to achieve anything you can achieve in touch? I mean, how invaluable is that to be coached from those guys?
Oh, it's just great. Like, yeah, they've had all the same experiences we have, and you know, we go down. We've seen them play at the top levels at the Opens, Euros, and everything. So to have them coaching us, it's really just an honour. Definitely helps improve our game.
100%. And we were talking yesterday, Ellis Watts just being selected for the Men's Open. That shows that the pathway's there.
Yeah.
Anyone else in your team you're sort of iron up for that level of touch?
I mean, absolutely buzzing for Ellis, first of all. But yeah, you know, there's a couple of the boys in there that have been in and around training a bit. So, you know, guess we'll see in the future.
Amazing. You've got any tricks up your sleeve for the game later on against Wales?
Nothing that I can give up right now. But, you know, we've definitely got some things we can still work on and improve. So I guess we'll see later on today.
Yeah, not much, mate, not much. I mean, 12 tries to 3. That's a convincing one. We'll let you get off. We need to take a breather, but well played,
Thank you
mate.
very much.
Well
Thank you very
done.
much.
And we are going to take a very quick break. We'll be back in about 10-15 minutes. Thank you very much for joining me on comms, and
thank you for having me.
Gotta catch the breath.
Definitely.
And we'll be back in 10 minutes.
My name is Sam Clacker. I play for London Wolves and London Eagles. I first started playing for England in 2019 at JTC, and this will be my 3rd tournament. So going into the game, we weren't 100% sure about what the competition would be like. We were coming to the tournament saying South Africa's going to be the big top dog, but obviously not underestimating USA and their athletes, because they are athletes throughout the country. And so it was completely, not random, but we were unsure what we were going to face, and I think the boys would be happy with what we performed. That's what we say. One of our mentality points is dog, or effing dog, and so it's just getting that aggression, and you would have seen it in that game then. It's getting off that line in midfield D, making sure they don't get momentum, don't get to look up at all, just down their throat the whole time in defence. That's what I'll see. So normally a captain, people say you need to elevate the team, you need to make them riled up and make them work for it, but for our team, I don't need to do that. And so personally, I think I was selected by John as captain. Oh, actually, I was selected by the team, but selected by the team because I level it down again. I keep it realistic. We make sure that we still stay task focused without getting too riled up and overboard. So in that game, again, we got overboard a bit, and so there are a few of the leadership team who had to calm everything down and settle us and make sure we were still focusing on the objective at hand. This is my 2nd year with John, and my 2nd year as captain with John. I think he's one of the strongest coaches I've ever had. Technically, he's obviously there. He's played men's opens for years. But this year he's developed a new, we like to say he's downloaded a conscience, he's downloaded not personality, he's downloaded emotions, and it's just great interacting with him. It's like he's part of the team, sort of, and hopefully as we all play and we're older, it'll make it easier for that integration into men's open squad. So for the first game they played here today, we were keeping a close eye on them and watching who their threats were, and so I think we're confident in who we've identified. With France, we're more random, but they look like they have a really strong drive going. But of course, their weaknesses, they tend to play slightly too loose, and then their passes drop off and all that stuff. And so we're looking, again, with our aggressive midfield defence, to get up in their faces and down their throats. We're coming into the tournament to win. That's it. We're coming in to win every single game. One of our smaller points is to get less than 10 turnovers or errors per game, but that's more minute. But we are looking to win, and we are looking to dominate all of it.